On July 2, 2021, 22-year-old Gabby and her fiancé Brian Laundrie left for a cross-country van life trip across the United States. Gabby documented everything: the national parks, the scenic drives, the day-to-day moments of life on the road, posting regularly to her Instagram and her YouTube channel. To anyone following along, it looked like exactly what it was supposed to be. The last post she made was somewhere around August 9th to 12th. After that, the updates stopped. About 2 weeks before that, on August 12th, police in Moab, Utah had responded to a domestic disturbance involving the couple. Body cam footage from that incident, which was later released publicly, showed Gabby visibly distressed and crying. She admitted to hitting Brian first, after she said he had grabbed her. He admitted pushing her. Officers deemed it mutual disorderly conduct, separated them for the night, and left. No arrests were made. Looking back, most people who watched that footage saw something the responding officers didn't act on. The trip continued through Utah and Wyoming. Gabby's family last heard from her around August 25th to 27th near Grand Teton National Park. Those were the last confirmed contacts. Investigators later estimated she died around that time. On September 1st, Brian arrived back at his family home in Northport, Florida. He had used Gabby's debit card for gas and transfers on the drive back. He said nothing publicly. 10 days passed before Gabby's family, having heard nothing from her, reported her missing on September 11th. Almost immediately, Brian was named a person of interest. However, before police could formally question him, he disappeared. His family said he had gone hiking in the Carlton Reserve in Florida. The case exploded online almost overnight, with millions of people on TikTok, Reddit, and YouTube tracking every detail, analyzing footage, license plates, and timelines. On September 19th, Gabby's remains were found at a dispersed camping area in the Bridger Teton National Forest in Wyoming. The Teton County coroner ruled her cause of death as manual strangulation combined with blunt force injuries to the head and neck. A month later, on October 20th, Brian Laundrie's skeletal remains were found in the Carlton Reserve along with a backpack, a gun, and a notebook. He had died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. In the notebook, he wrote a confession taking responsibility for Gabby's death, framing it as a mercy killing after she was badly injured and in severe pain. Gabby's family and investigators rejected that account entirely. The FBI concluded that Laundrie acted alone and that no one else was involved in her death. What didn't end there was the question of what his family knew and when. Gabby's family filed a lawsuit against Laundrie's parents, alleging they were aware Gabby was dead before she was even reported missing. Phone records showed Brian had told his parents she was gone on August 29th, 3 days before he even arrived home. A letter from his mother to Brian, written earlier, contained references dark enough that it was later cited in the lawsuit. The case settled confidentially in 2024. No criminal charges were ever filed against the parents. Gabby Petito had started her YouTube channel specifically for the van life trip. The last videos she uploaded showed the open road, national parks, and the kind of ordinary travel moments that look completely different in hindsight. On the night of June 8th, 2025, Rodney and Tanisha Finley were doing what they did most weekends, live streaming near the Bellagio fountains on the Las Vegas Strip. Rodney, who went by Finny the Legend online, ran a YouTube channel with around 6,000 to 7,000 subscribers. He and his wife Tanisha, known to their audience as Bubbly, made energetic fun content together. Vlogs, live streams, and unboxings. That live stream would capture their final moments. At around 10:40 in the evening, another YouTuber named Manuel Ruiz, who streamed under the name Sin City Manny, approached the couple on the strip. What followed was captured on Rodney's own live stream and on casino surveillance cameras. Ruiz opened fire with a 9mm handgun, shooting Rodney multiple times and Tanisha twice in the head. Both were pronounced dead at the scene. No weapons were found on either of them. The two sides had been at each other for nearly 2 years by that point. The conflict reportedly started in late 2023 after Ruiz allegedly pepper sprayed Tanisha during an in-person encounter on Fremont Street. From there, it escalated fast. Physical altercations, copyright strikes targeting each other's channels, racial slurs, and a running territorial dispute over streaming spots on the Las Vegas Strip. In the days leading up to the shooting, Rodney had mocked Ruiz's wife during a live stream. Both sides had been trading threats and provocative content for months. However, what happened on June 8th was not an online argument. Ruiz fled the scene after the shooting, discarding clothing and hiding the gun before taking a rideshare away from the area. His partner Julie approached police shortly after telling them she heard gunshots and believed her husband was involved. She was not charged. The following day, Ruiz turned himself in at a Henderson police station and claimed self-defense. He said Tanisha had been dancing in his face, that Rodney reached toward his waistband and said something aggressively, leading him to believe Rodney had a gun. He also claimed he saw a shiny black object in Tanisha's hand and feared it was a weapon. Police reviewed the footage and noted that it showed Ruiz advancing toward the couple while firing, directly contradicting his account. No weapons were found on either victim. Ruiz was charged with 2 counts of open murder with a deadly weapon and pleaded not guilty. Bail has been denied multiple times due to the strength of the evidence against him. Prosecutors have indicated they may seek the death penalty, given that the shooting took place in a crowded public area and put numerous bystanders at serious risk. As of mid-2026, the case is still moving through the courts with no final resolution. Rodney and Tanisha left behind children and family members who remembered them as devoted, fun-loving people. Rodney had left a more stable career to pursue streaming full-time. Neither of them could have known that a 2-year feud over YouTube drama in Las Vegas street corners would end the way it did, on camera, in front of thousands of live viewers. On the evening of October 17, 2024, 26-year-old Elliot Eastman went live on YouTube from the kitchen floor of his home in Cebuco, a remote coastal town in the southern Philippines. He sat eating noodles and chatting with his viewers. It was the kind of stream he did regularly, a window into his daily life on the other side of the world. The stream ended around 9 in the evening. Roughly 2 hours later, 4 armed men dressed in black and wearing face coverings burst into his home. They were carrying M16 rifles and posed as police officers. Eastman fought back. During the struggle, he was shot twice, once in the leg and once in the abdomen. The men dragged him out of the house, bleeding, and forced him into a motorized outrigger boat. His wife screamed as they sped off into the Sulu Sea. Local police pursued but lost sight of the boat in the darkness. 2 spent MA-16 casings and bloodstains were found at the scene. Elliot had moved to Cebuco permanently in May 2024 after first visiting the Philippines the year before. He had met a local woman named Carisha, married her in a traditional Muslim ceremony in July 2023, and converted to Islam, taking the name Muhammad. By all accounts, he was fully committed to his new life, documenting everything on his YouTube channel, Elliot Beastman, which had built up around 9,400 subscribers and over 1.7 million views by the time he disappeared. His content was straightforward: fishing, cooking, community moments, rainy afternoons, everyday life in a place most of his viewers would never visit. However, Elliot was not quiet about the risks. In multiple videos and live streams, he described Cebuco as one of the most dangerous areas in the country. He said openly that people in the area did not like him, and that at times he felt his life was at risk. Those comments, which his viewers had largely taken as honest context rather than genuine warning, took on a very different meaning after October 17th. In the weeks that followed, Philippine authorities launched a major search involving police, Marines, and diving operations in the Sulu Sea. Suspects were arrested by late November and early December 2024. Testimony from a captured suspect and a relative of one of the perpetrators indicated that Eastman had bled out on the boat shortly after the abduction. According to those accounts, the kidnappers threw his body overboard into the sea. On December 5, 2024, the Philippine National Police officially declared Elliot Eastman presumed dead. His body has never been recovered. Several suspects died in shootouts with police during the investigation. By January 2025, authorities had arrested the alleged mastermind, along with at least 4 others connected to the attack. The exact motive has never been officially confirmed. The leading theory is a kidnapping for ransom that escalated when Elliot fought back. Local rumors also pointed to personal resentment. Some accounts suggested one of the suspects had a prior connection to Carisha and had wanted to reconcile with her. Others pointed to broader tensions with Elliot as a visible foreigner posting videos about a region many locals considered private and dangerous territory. What's clear is that the last time anyone outside of Cebuco saw Elliot Eastman alive, he was sitting on his kitchen floor in the rain, talking to his viewers, completely unaware of what was coming. On the evening of March 3, 2026, 45-year-old Nancy was leaving a client's home on Todd Lane in LaSalle, Ontario, after finishing a shift as a personal support worker. At around 9:30 in the evening, she was confronted outside and stabbed multiple times. A witness saw the attack and called the police. Nancy was rushed to hospital but was pronounced dead. Investigators concluded almost immediately that this was not random. The killer had reportedly canvassed the area for days beforehand, used a wooded section nearby to approach and escape, and had a quick getaway route near Highway 401. Everything about it pointed to a targeted, premeditated attack. Nancy ran a YouTube channel called Nancy Gruel Canada, where she had posted over 480 videos and built up around 10,000 subscribers. Her content was sharp and unapologetic, commentary on political and social issues, Punjab politics, India-Canada relations, and pointed criticism of separatist extremism. She was known for not holding back, which earned her a loyal following, but also made her enemies. According to her family, she had been receiving death threats for years because of her videos and had informed police. However, the warning signs went beyond online threats. In November 2025, just 4 months before her murder, her home in Windsor was targeted in a suspected arson. Surveillance footage captured a van stopping outside, a man pouring liquid on her porch and setting it alight. Ontario Provincial Police later released that footage and linked the arson directly to the murder investigation. After her death, a social media account associated with separatist extremism reportedly claimed responsibility, stating she had been killed for her opposition to the movement. Police acknowledged they were investigating that angle among others, but urged the public not to treat unverified claims as confirmed. As of the latest updates, no arrests have been made and the killer remains at large. Nancy's mother, speaking from India, alleged that 3 individuals were involved and pointed to a specific person connected to a local place of worship as a main conspirator. She claimed the family had known about the threats for a long time and that people in the community were aware of who was responsible but were too afraid to speak. Nancy had built her life in Canada over many years, working as a caregiver, looking after her mother after her father's death, and carving out a voice online that a lot of people in her community valued precisely because it said things others wouldn't. From what I could find, she was fully aware that her content put her at risk. She kept posting anyway. On the morning of March 11th, 2025, 22-year-old Ari Sato was live streaming to over 6,000 viewers as she walked a circuit of train stations along Tokyo's Yamanote line. It was the kind of content she made regularly. Casual, unscripted, just her walking through the city with her phone. Nothing about that morning seemed unusual. Near JR Takadanobaba Station in Shinjuku, a 42-year-old man named Kenichi Takano approached her. What followed was captured live by her own stream. Takano stabbed her over 30 times with a survival knife. Viewers heard her screaming for help before the stream went dark. Some thought it was a prank. Others started asking where she had gone. Emergency sirens became audible in the final seconds of the feed. Takano was arrested at the scene. Ari was rushed to hospital but pronounced dead from hemorrhagic shock. She had suffered a fatal wound to the neck. Takano had been watching her stream since around 2021. He first met her in person in 2022 after visiting the restaurant where she worked, and from there, the dynamic between them became something far more complicated. Over the following years, he lent her the equivalent of roughly $14,000 to $17,000, money he had taken out in loans himself to cover her expenses. She had promised to repay him. He eventually took her to court and won a judgment. However, she never paid, and at some point, she blocked him entirely. On the morning of the attack, Takano had traveled around 60 miles from his home specifically to confront her. He tracked her location through the live stream itself, recognizing landmarks in the background and checking her posted schedule. He later admitted he had planned the encounter in advance, though he denied intending to kill her. He cited the unpaid debt and the frustration of watching her continue to earn money through streaming while he was still paying off loans he had taken out for her. The case sparked significant discussion in Japan about the risks of real-life streaming, where a creator's real-time location is visible to anyone watching, and the dangers of parasocial relationships that cross into financial dependency. Ari's streams regularly involved solo public outings, which made her easy to track and left her with no one nearby to help when it mattered. Opinions online were divided. Some focused on the debt and the messages she had sent requesting money. Others pointed out that no financial dispute justifies what Takano did on that street. What most people agreed on was that 6,000 people watched the beginning of it happen in real time, and there was nothing any of them could do. Takano was sent to prosecutors following his arrest. The broader details of his trial and sentencing are still working through Japan's legal process.